understand the market needs. Suppose you have identified that this is the product I want to make. For example, Instagram's idea came to you before Instagram existed. So you have to identify who is your consumer. In here, what I mean by that is, are you a B2B startup or a B2C startup? B2B means that you're selling for businesses only, right? You're not going for consumers. B2C means you're directly going for consumer startups. Can you guys give me an example, two examples each of B2C and B2B startups? Anybody? Session might stop there.
सर B2C और B दोनों के एग्जांपल्स देने ना सर.
दो एग्जाम्पल आप एक ही दो मतलब आई विल लाइक फोर पीपल टू आंसर बिकॉज इट्स टू एग्जाम्पल्स otherwise we can finish the session as well. Razorpay, Pratik Kumar says B2B, that's one B2B startup, but Razorpay also has a B2C domain actually. It can work like that, but okay, good. Yeah, Shubhi and others
So
say
Microsoft is one example of B2B and B2C both. The cloud services are B2B
that's
and
why I'm saying
normal
give me
services are
pure
B2C.
examples. Cloud services is different, that's why I'm saying give me pure examples. Yeah. Amazon also is a B2B and plus if the retail side is B2C. Delivery is a B2B startup. That's one because it's a logistics supply chains business. And delivery is a huge consumer because we work with delivery. They have Amazon and other things. Imagine Amazon and Flipkart is outsourcing their logistics services to a startup. Like they're self-sufficient, but they're outsourcing. So we went to the startup of you can say uh, so I think Flipkart. Flipkart was there. They're near Gurgaon only. Beyond that point, they had and they had a logistic park, and they were handling for Flipkart their whole handling. So they've outsourced. Imagine that's the kind of they have. Xerox is good, and then Netflix, for example, is a B2C startup, an OTT platform, right? So they sell to you
So
directly.
TSMC is B2B.
TSMC is
So Taiwanese semiconductor manufacturing company.
yeah, for mostly semiconductors, yeah, is there. Taiwan. Yeah, so mostly if you see chips wise, that is the case. Like somebody mentioned Intel as well and other things. So that is a B2B kind of a branding, right? That you're trying to go there. And B2C can be an example of OTT platforms that there. And they're trying to sell directly to you with partnerships and everything. Yeah. I
So
think yeah.
Intel is B2C, is that sells directly to consumers?
How have you bought an Intel chip before
Yes,
that?
sir.
They sell
Like if
mostly to
you
businesses
make
first.
yourself a PC like most people do and they
Yeah,
have
they
to buy
do. They do.
separately.
No, they do. But Intel makes most of the money by actually associating with Dell, right? They make B2B more. Cloud, their chips will always be mostly B2B. They do sell in the open, but if you see, Dell will get a different pricing from you buying for sure, right? If you buy one because they buy in bulk. That's a
Yes.
I'm saying multi-model. Although they do sell chips outside, but if you see the shortage comes outside, doesn't mean laptops were stop making. So recently we are in a shortage of semiconductors in India, right?
Yes, sir.
Everywhere. So they will sell to them first. It's a B2B model. They have a small B2C outlook because people they want to be able to have feasible stuff for people to make. But you don't buy directly from Intel, I think. You buy from the distributors, right? You buy from a distributor. I have very rare shops. If you see that Intel, this is Intel's personal store,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
right? So that's a different scenario there, and they will mostly have for gigabytes. So the authorized resellers, basically, mostly. That's called managed service partners. That's a different. So for them, they are B2B to them, right? You don't buy from directly Intel's company all the time. So that's what I'm saying. There is an intricacy there. Their B2C outlook looks like that, but you never directly go to buy that company and then it's itself.
So
Apple has
then shouldn't that be with Apple too? Because in India mostly they are resellers.
yeah, that's why I'm saying that's the case there as well. But in Apple, what happens? They take the guarantee of that as well in one sense. So they're outsourcing.
The
So
same
it is
what
a
happens
B2B
with
plus
Intel also.
B2C.
They give guarantee of the chips.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's a B2B plus B2C outlook there. But Apple doesn't sell to anyone else. They try to make them distributors. Intel involves
Okay,
companies
okay,
like
yes, sir,
Dell,
yes, I got it.
Lenovo. Their use case is different because it might when I buy a Dell laptop, I'm not dealing with Intel at all. So I have to go to Dell to deal with that, right? That my laptop is not working, even if my motherboard is not working, although it's an Intel chip that is not working. That's the use case I'm telling you. For Apple, if I'm buying an Apple phone from any reseller, I can go to Apple and say, this is not working. So there is a small difference of business scenario I'm trying to tell you. Right? My like I'm using AMD's stuff. and my laptop is Asus, so I don't have to go to AMD because that part is separate. I have to go with Asus. In this case, it's a critical scenario. Yeah. So what segment of customers I want to target? For example, if I open my business, I have Instagram, B2B versus B2C. It went a longer question than I intended, but wanted to understand that there is an intricacy always. And businesses do operate in B2C and B2C models both. They want money where it can come from. Then comes the market size. That's very important to understand. Not every business has $1 billion or that market size, because I have been pitching to investors all my life. So I understand, we have to mention what is the total scenario. What is the total business value, for example, globally? How big is the market in India? And addressable market means how much you can capture and right there, right? If there are some players, you can't take out Geo's market today. You can't say I'm building something similar to Geo, I'm getting 10% less than them, I'll capture their whole market. But you must tell what is the chunk of the pie the people want to have. Right? If it's $1 trillion market in your, if you want to have 0.1%, it's a huge amount. And if it's a 1 million market, and then it doesn't make sense, because people want to know how big you can grow. And there is a limited scenario. And I'll cover that point in one more service model prospect. Do competitor analysis. Okay, you are the genius, you have identified the idea, but see who else is in the market fighting with you. Then only see what you are up against. Do you need capital, or is it something you can innovate, and how fast you can grow? Because that depends whether you want to be a competitor to them, or you just want to have a big company and get them acquired by them. For example, the edtech startup, if you build a huge enough community, some innovation, most probably Byju's is going to come at your door and say, this is 10 million, give me your startup, and you're happy. Depends on how you want to have it. What is the biggest pain point of the customers then? After understanding, like, because every startup doesn't solve the same problem, right? Every startup doesn't solve the same problem. They can, solve one problem in different ways as well. There are, when you look at a whole ecosystem, there are different sections to it. For example, in supply chain, there are different ways. There is in-house machinery. When you get the packages, how you sort them, that is something for a machine sorting kind of a thing, or AI kind of a thing. For example, the second one, do you the guys know the company Wheelsar? We'll say a lot of what they happen is they do the tracking system for the trucks and other things, route optimizations, and they give a very good dashboard to the people managing the trucks, and then they can implement and see how the scenario can be managed. This is one other part of the supply chain. Then most of your stuff reaches to you Blue Dart. They send you documents through that. So that is the last part of the supply chain. Or delivery also comes in that scenario actually. For example, when you order your product, Amazon gets it from the US to here, and then it's the job of the delivery to provide the workforce and get them to you. And then also he's a big startup, right? Amazon has good capability, but still delivery has captured so much market in India that they're able to manage warehouses better than them. So you have to understand what is the begin pain point and see and identify which is your segment to enter. So one problem doesn't always have one kind of a pain point. There can be many pain points as well. Somebody might have solved it in a very good manner. For example, one of the biggest problems of getting payments, Razorpay has solved that to a very nice level and tried to sophisticate the process. There are other ways as well, but most of the enterprises these days very easily go for Razorpay. There are other players coming for lesser margins and stuff, but nobody trusts the kind of ease and the kind of good legal foundation they are maintaining. So Razorpay is a very famous platform for receiving international payments now. So you have to see whether this problem you want to repeat. For example, if in Kenya this kind of platform doesn't exist, build a startup, go to Kenya and build a startup. So it's like a Razorpay for Kenya. You can pitch that. You're first to the market there. There is a huge pain point. This is a verifiable use case. Why I'm saying that, you don't need to always innovate out of the box. Once I was reading about Book My Show's founder's story actually. So he went outside and saw this model and then tried to replicate in India, did very nice, then fell down, then went up again. But what he did was not innovate out of the box, but understand that this kind of a model exists outside. Now I can do it. Other disruptive models, OYO, right? Airbnb is a model that has recently come to India, but outside it was more. But OYO kind of apps were quite innovative, right? Because earlier it was a huge hassle. Before that, you were not able to book Delhi hotels actually without your outside ID. Most of you might not know that, but earlier, if you were in Delhi, you could not book a hotel like that. And then there was no customer service, right? Because you're dealing with the consumer hotel guy already. He's like, Gunda type of guy. What are you going to do? So somebody needs to come and sophisticate and facilitate your process. That's why OYO came into picture. Although the hospitality industry hit bad in the COVID, so I'm trying to personally avoid that. But still, it's a huge industry. It's not a bad industry to enter.